You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Spring will be here soon, so if buying a new home is on your to-do list, right now is the time to call Quicken Loans. Learn about which mortgage options make sense for you and get a jump on your competition. With our exclusive Rate Shield approval, the low rate you lock today is protected for up to 90 days while you shop for your new home. With a Rate Shield approval, if rates go up, your low rate stays locked. But if rates go down, you get that new, even lower rate. Either way, you win. Talk to us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to take advantage. Here's another great reason to work with us. For a record 9 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, to lock in today's low mortgage interest rate and get the security of our exclusive Rate Shield approval, call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the new Sesame Ginger Glazed Chicken Signature Wrap. How would you like it?
I'll take a...
Sports announcer at home?
Yeah, how'd you...
We just know.
My wife picks up the new Signature Wrap. It's got double the rotisserie-style chicken mixed with a sesame ginger glaze. She appears annoyed at me, but she shrugs it off. Those sweet and savory flavors are calling her name. She lifts the wrap and she takes the bite! Incredible! And now she's closing the door on my... Subway, make it what you want.
Limited time only at participating restaurants. Double meat based on average 6-inch sub.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Welcome to the Hardcore Patriot.
Hey, let 'em do it again. Yeah. Hey.
No one is below rule of law's protection. No one is above his reproach.
People coming out of the woods carrying torches, things,
Today, human makes history.
Welcome to the Hardcore Patriot. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Alan Ray, your humble host, coming to you from the cornfields of southeastern Michigan. Crashing headlong into the weekend. Wow. This summer has just flown by. How much fun and an excitement have I had this much summer? Not a whole lot. I'm kind of ruining the fact. Not really. I'm not really mourning the fact that I really didn't do a lot of fun stuff this summer. It was a relaxing summer. I have to admit. I took some time just to piddle around the house, do some things. It hasn't been bad, but as far as getting things like fishing and golf and all the things I love to do, it's just been a blank. It seems like every weekend that I have off, it's in the 90s and it's just, the heat's just crazy and you really don't want to do anything, or it's storming. And yeah, I'm complaining, I'm whining, but you know, I'm good at that. Welcome to the Hardcore Patriots. Today, topic of discussion on everybody's lips, Afghanistan. Number 2, just exactly how many failures is this president going to drag us through before he actually starts losing his supporters? Then we got hurricanes, we got COVID, we got everything. Don't go anywhere. Let's have some fun. You know, Jimmy Carter's got to be feeling a lot of relief right now. Yeah, because for years, for decades, for a long time, he has been the absolute worst president we have ever had. Not that the man himself was really a bad person. You know, I have mixed feelings about Carter, okay? I truly believe that in his heart, he's actually a good person. I mean, this guy does like Habitat for Humanity. He does things, you know, since he's been president, they're good. They're what honest, good, hardworking people do. His policies, his administration, was a nightmare. And those of us who have lived through it, those of us, he made me the conservative I am today. I looked at the things he did. I looked at some of the stuff that his administration did. And as far as I'm concerned, it paled in anything that Nixon did. I mean, Nixon was a scoundrel. Not even going to try to hide that fact. Save for being somebody who did a few nefarious things, though, his policies, some of the things he did, set the tone for what we have today. But Carter was just a horrible president. And not that his presidency itself, you know, like I said, he's not a bad person, and I'll argue that with anybody. But just like any leftist, his policies are short-sighted. They suck. They led to a lot of issues. They led to the problems in the Mideast that we have today. You can directly tie Jimmy Carter into what's going on at this exact moment. It's not a big jump. And now he can no longer claim the title of America's worst president. I think Biden's got this one pretty much sewed up. This man, this Joe Biden guy, number one, I'm still, it boggles my mind how he ended up in the Oval Office. This man has been the problem for 5 decades. For 5 decades, almost as long as I have been alive, this man has been the problem. Now, he is the leader of the free world. And this man can screw up a one-man parade. We under this moron, this dementia-ridden old man, look at what we've got so far. Inflation going through the roof. It's getting harder and harder and harder every single day for a normal working-class nuclear family to survive. Now, I suspect the tinfoil hat side of me suspects that that's by plan. They want a total breakdown. They want a total collapse of our society such as it is. So they can, quote, build back better, unquote. And they've proven that. If this is not the actual case, well, they sure do try to prove it a lot. Every turn they make in the last few months, we're not even a year into this man's presidency. And things just can't get a whole lot worse. Do I dare say what can go more bad than what's already going bad? I mean, what do we have left? We got nuclear war. You know, and we'll get into this. This Afghanistan thing can turn really bad really quick. And I've been perusing social media, which I'm going to be really honest with you lately. I'm getting more and more tired of social media. Twitter, Facebook, they just make me tired, exhausted. I find more energy involving myself in life, in real, honest-to-God life. There's people out there in social media land, and don't get me wrong, it's good to know this. It's good to have this knowledge base that there are people with such idiotic, moronic takes that they really should not be trusted in normal society. And unfortunately, some of these people are blue-checked media mogul. You know, they're oh, look, I'm a big reporter. I work for New York Times. I work for CNN. I work for this. I work for that. These people mold the thinking of the common sheep of America. Now, I don't mean that as a derogatory term. What I mean is the common sheep is the people who don't take the time to actually sit and reflect on what they just heard roll out of the mouths of that shiny stupidity box that sits in front of them called the television. Now, say what you want about the kids coming up, the Gen Z kids coming up. One thing I love about these kids, they don't trust anyone. They don't trust the right. They don't trust the left. They don't trust because they're raised by Gen X, and we don't trust anyone. We've been lied to over and over and over and over again. We've been fed crap by the same idiot that's in the White House right now. That's why a lot of us are looking at this going, how did he become president? What happened? How did these people who claim gender equity, gender equality, racial equity, racial equality, LGMNOQPZYK silent X equality, and you voted the biggest bigot, sexist, racist? You go back and study his history, for God's sakes. And he hasn't changed. You just got fooled. You got screwed over. You didn't pay attention. And then you have these morons. And I'm looking at you, Tom Nichols, Jennifer Rubin, Max Boot, all of the Lincoln Project in their entirety, little pedophile gang there. All of these people, these hardcore never-Trumpers who claim to still be on the right, but basically told you if you don't vote for Joe Biden, then you're screwing over America. They are responsible for this idiot being in the White House. And I'm seeing buyer's remorse from people like Tom Nichols. Now, let me back up just one step, okay? I have never, ever backed away from the fact that I did not vote for Donald Trump in the first election. I kind of turned my nose up at it. I turned my nose up at the whole election. I sure as heck didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. Ugh. I just left that section blank. I just couldn't. There was just no way I could vote for either one of them. You bet your butt the second election I voted for Donald Trump, because I could see this coming a mile away. I have never been a what they would call a Trumper, a huge Trump fan, MAGA, whatever. Okay, this is just something internal. I don't care if you are. That's fine. I scrutinize politicians. Anyone that wants to run this country should be scrutinized because they're, in my world, in my book, anybody that has the goal of running an entire nation should be scrutinized and not trusted. Now, that doesn't mean I didn't trust Trump, but I don't. As a rule, I just don't give my life over into the hands of any government entity, period. Right, left, middle, I don't care. And I scrutinize all of them. I don't trust any of them. In my world, government is a necessary evil, and their roles should be very, 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 very limited to keep from getting what we have right here, right now. I did like what Trump did. I would love to have $2 a gallon gas and mean tweets back again. Trust me, I'm good with that. I like what he did overseas. He was actually bringing peace to this entire planet. He was actually, peace was breaking out in the Mideast. Oh, but he struck a deal with the Taliban. Yeah, we've been striking deals with the Taliban for decades. It's starting to come out. They're striking deals with the Taliban right now, and we're going to get more into that too. But at least, they were afraid of Trump. And these idiots, these dunderheads that lead the left, these morons that are in charge of the Democrat Party. Oh, we have to get respect back in the world stage. How's that respect going right now? I got to ask you that question. What kind of respect do you think we have on the world stage right now? with this addled old moron who's been in Washington, D.C. almost all of his life, who's totally unaware that there's actually a nation outside of Washington, D.C. How's that respect on the world stage going for you right now? I need to ask that. We are the laughing stock of the entire planet. And not we as in me, we as in you. You're running this country. You wanted it. You got all three branches locked up. Well, you don't have the judicial branch locked up, thank God. We'll get into that earlier. But it's still majorly influenced by the left, which kills me sometime. But you got Congress locked up. You got the presidency locked up. You almost have half of the judicial branch locked up. Thank God Trump was able to put a couple of at least semi-centrists into that branch before he got done with his office. I question them sometime. And it's easy to question them when they don't decide things the way that you think they should go. But hopefully they're just doing what they should do and taking the Constitution of the United States of America and putting it up against the law and saying, is this constitutional? Yes, no, maybe. Well, it has nothing to do with the Constitution and it doesn't, they should be. And instead, the left wants a bunch of people in there that say, well, we have a progressive agenda to promote. So who cares about this Constitution? They've already told you they don't care about the Constitution. But it still seems to me that the left influences the judicial branch a lot more than what they should. A lot more. So there's no blaming Donald Trump for the last 8 months. There is none. And Biden sat up there with his general blank stare. You can tell that the gears just aren't clicking up there. And he tried his best to slough this entire Afghanistan thing off onto Donald Trump. Well, Trump. You had to get that shot. Well, Trump. Sorry, Joe. This is all on you. Yeah, we had not had a single person killed in Afghanistan since what? February 2020? January 2020? Now you got all hell breaking loose over there. He couldn't have planned this any worse than what he did. And it doesn't seem to register with him. And what's funny is even his administration, even the apologists that trot out there and they say, well, he meant this. He did this, but he meant this. And I know he just forgot his words and stuttered and stumbled off and all he saw was the back of his shiny bald head. No questions from the media because he might say the wrong thing. Or better yet, I have a list here that I've been told that I had to call on first. Who told you that, Joe? Who told you that? Even the newspaper outlets, the news outlets, are raising their eyebrows over what happened at that press conference. He had been instructed to call on reporters at the presser about Afghanistan, about Kabul. He had been instructed. Instructed by who? Who's pulling this man's strings? I want to know. We want to know who's actually running this nation. This guy is not running this nation. This addled, old, dementia-ridden president is not running this nation. He has issues. And this is about to come back to bite us. We have some severe insanity going on here right now. What is this, Fox News? It says President Biden raised eyebrows on Thursday as he began taking questions from reporters for the first time since the Kabul, however you want to say it, terror attacks. Hours after 2 suicide bombings outside the airport that left at least 13 U.S. servicemen dead, the bulk of them Marines. Biden broke his silence and offered somber message to the nation amid the military withdrawal from Afghanistan. Now, while it has become normalized for the president to rely on a list of pre-selected reporters, which is a bunch of crap, He made a rather stunning admission in the process. Ladies and gentlemen, they gave me a list here. Who's they? I want to know who they is. The Vice President? George Soros? Kamala Harris? I want to know the they. The first person I was instructed to call on was Kelly O'Donnell from NBC, he said. What? Now, this is what you're supposed to do, Joey. Joey, you go out there with this list of papers, and you say exactly what's on that little screen there in front of you. And when you're done, if you want to ask questions, these are the people you call on first. Don't stray from this list, Joey, or there's going to be problems. You will not get tapioca before bed if you call on somebody besides the people on this list. Who the heck's running this nation right now, people? I'm concerned. I'm very concerned here. This is not right. This is not how this nation should be running. The butt Trumpers out there. Oh, butt Trump. These butt Trumpers have no excuse for this guy's behavior anymore. Could you even imagine if all of this, what we're seeing over in Afghanistan, if all of this happened under Trump? Could you even imagine? The plastic booze hag over there, Pelosi. Once again, she'd be trotting out a bunch of papers down to the Senate. Oh, we're going to impeach him. This is the fifth time. Yeah, we're going to try to impeach him. Oh, number 6, he said something else. She couldn't pass up an opportunity to try to impeach Trump. All because he wouldn't let her fly home one time. That's where it all stems from. But it's crazy. Absolute insanity. Afghanistan is the new Iran. Make no mistake, folks, okay? What's going on in Afghanistan right now? Whether it's planned or whether he just has no control, I really don't know. And I don't think we're really going to ever know. But you have stupidity going on. You have some really bad decisions being made by the wrong people. And it's absolute chaos. I personally, the way things went, the intelligence that we had, what we knew, I personally think that the Biden administration handed Afghanistan back to the Taliban. That's what I personally feel. We will never know. The peons of this planet are never going to know. But the way he went about, and this is another thing, the Biden administration and their lapdog media, NBC, ABC, MSNBC, whatever, CNN, which really CNN's just a non-player anymore. Do they even mean anything anymore? They're gone. But every one of those people have had to put a new spin on it. And the spin is this: well, if you don't agree with what the president's doing, that means you're a war hawk. That means that you want to stay there forever and ever and ever and ever. No, that's not what it means. It's not what it means at all. What we are seeing, and the facts, the things that are coming through as facts, the reality of the situation is he has no control over this evacuation. He has screwed it up. Add it to a long list, a very long list of Joe Biden screw-ups. He has lost control of the situation. I don't want to be in Afghanistan. I don't know of many people who want our young men and women thrown into that sandbox, that meat grinder in the Middle East, so they can be shredded by a never-ending battle. These people know one lifestyle, and that's to fight to kill each other. They got nothing else to do over there. What the heck else do you do over there? You can raise poppy seeds. You can raise drugs. But there's not really a whole lot else to do. Everything's been bombed and bombed again and bombed again. Between Russia and the United States and whoever else has had to go over there, what's left? I mean, you can only bomb the rubble so much before it's, I mean, maybe that's how it all got to be sand over the, past thousands and thousands of years. People just kept tearing things up until it's just all sand. Hard to tell. It's a joke. Lighten up, all right? But this man has lost complete and total control of the situation. You can't tell me. We have held Afghanistan for 20 years. We went in there, blew the crap out of everybody that was in charge, chased them all up into the mountains, disappeared a lot of them. We held that place for 20 years. You're telling me right now, Joe Biden's administration, all the little moron minions that are trying to excuse his behavior, the people who are running the country in reality behind his back, you can't tell me that we could not hold Kabul for what? 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Until we got all of our people out of there? You can't tell me right now that we could not hold the Taliban off for another month and tell people we're pulling out, we're bringing you guys out of here. If you want to go, start going now. This is a semi-secret thing. Don't make it a big deal. Don't make it whatever. But you need to leave Afghanistan and start pulling all of our American citizens out of there, all the people we wanted out of there. And they have been in communication with the Taliban from day one. This is what leads me to believe that they gave the country back to them, along with billions of dollars of our war resources that they now possess. They've been in contact with the Taliban. In fact, the Taliban has been advising them and vice versa. We're taking orders from the Taliban? No. You can't tell me we could not hold off these people for a couple of weeks, a month, pull all of our Americans out of there, all of our assets out of there, and say, you know what? Yeah, we'll leave you a couple of guns and ammunitions to defend yourselves, people, but we're out of here. We can no longer do this. We knew darn well the Taliban was going to take back over. We knew it. You can't tell me we didn't. It was pretty obvious when you look back at the history. I think Trump knew it. I think Trump knew the second we were gone, Taliban would take back over. That's why he kept a minimum amount of troops there, because they knew that if they started something, it would be really, really fast to get a whole bunch of other troops in there and take them back out. Well, now we got a bigger problem. And the apologists in the White House, in the media, they're actually touting this as a Joe Biden victory. And now we've lost Marines, we've lost the Navy, we've lost American soldiers, more victims of the meat grinder, because this idiot has no clue what he's doing pulling people out of there. Yes, this is the 2021 version of Saigon. We have fought this pointless war for 20 years. The only point this war has had from day one, and trillions of dollars are spent over there, is to ensure that we are keeping terrorists busy so they don't attack American soil. As far as I'm concerned, we should have just went over there for the first 2-3 weeks, bombed every single thing that even looked, smelled, eerily resembled Taliban, and warned them, banned them from this country. Anybody from that area, even coming over here, gets sent into a room and questioned, why are you here? Do you have connections? Followed, tagged. It doesn't sound too American, but we're talking about the security of this nation. And they've already sworn. These are the people that go up and down the street screaming death to America. You heard them chant that. You heard this idiot reporter going, oh, they seem nice and friendly, even though they're screaming death to America. This war should have been about a 2-3 year war. Instead, it's been a 20-year war. It's been through way too many presidents. And we could have de-escalated, got Americans out of there, held Kabul for, I don't know, 2-3 more weeks, told people you have to leave. You have to leave. And then, only after the American citizens are gone, start pulling our troops out of there. And leave the Taliban with a foreboding warning. If you screw around with the United States of America ever again, all of this sand is going to be glazed glass and you will cease to exist. It's pretty threatening, right? But instead, what we have, the way Biden is doing this, the things that are going on, what he is causing right now, mark my words, we have a new Iran. The Taliban's going to want nuclear power. They're going to want nuclear weapons. Iran's going to be more than happy to help them gain them because they hate America. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? You can expect terrorist attacks. You can expect the same old, same old. These people are not our friends. They never have been. A 20-year war over there, I'm totally through with it. And there's not a whole lot of people that disagree with me. We could handle this withdrawal much, much better, but we have an addled moron in charge of the United States of America, as his administration is just as stupid, just as moronic. And the problem with them is they're a bunch of egocentrics. They think that they are the end-all, cure-all, that they are the experts, and they're not. They're stupid. They're very stupid people. They show it every day. His administration is just it's a gaggle of morons. They show it constantly. We're already at the bottom of the hour. I'm going to take a quick break. When I come back, we're going to get into the meat of some of the things going on in Afghanistan, why it's such a disaster, and we're going to talk about a few more things. Don't go away. I'm Alan Ray. This is the Hardcore Patriot. I will be back in just a moment.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
Welcome back. I'm Alan Ray, the Hardcore Patriot. You know, I was asked this week, what's the difference between Taliban and ISIS? Good question. Good question. Did a little research on it. Thanks to articles from like The Independent, a few others. Taliban and ISIS, they're both Sunni Islamist extremist groups. They're both seeking to form authoritarian states under strict Sharia law, which basically means you have no rights, especially women. Women are treated like dogs. But that's okay because, you know, the left approves of the Taliban, and they probably approve of ISIS. It's okay to treat women like dogs as long as you do it under the banner of Sharia law. And they're prepared to use violence to achieve their aim, both of them. The two forces, however, are actually enemies. And they have fought bitterly since at least 2015 when ISIS formed the Islamic State Khorasan province in Afghanistan at a time when it was first seeking to extend its geographical reach beyond Iraq and Syria, according to The Independent. Taliban first came to prominence in 1994 during the Afghan Civil War. Its rank, composed largely of students, which form the group derives its name in, let's see, what is that? Yeah, from which the group derives its name in Pashto, many of whom had been Mujahideen resistance fighters who had battled occupation by Soviet Union in the 80s. The Deobandi fundamentalist Islamist movement originated in the Pashtun area of eastern and southern Afghanistan and in northern Pakistan. The Taliban was led by Mullah Muhammad Omar and conquered first the province of Herat and then the whole country by September of 1996, overthrowing the Burhanuddin Rabbani regime, establishing the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan and making Kandahar the capital. Now, one of the marks of the Taliban, it's a tyrannical organization. Massacres of opponents, the denial of United Nations food supplies to starving citizens, oppression of women. And that was all brought to an abrupt end by U.S.-led coalition forces in December of 2001, if you remember that. In retaliation for Osama bin Laden's devastating attacks on the World Trade Center. Now, we took them out of power because they harbored, in fact, they invited, they welcomed these terrorist camps, especially the ones that were anti-American. We are the great Satan in their eyes. They want us destroyed, converted or destroyed. They have said this several times. Since then, Taliban fighters have regrouped. They're an insurgency now. They continue to battle to take Afghanistan from U.S. peacekeeping forces. Now, that's Taliban. ISIS, meanwhile, was first formed by a Jordanian jihadist named Abu Musab al-Zarqawi in 1999, before rising to global prominence when it drove the Iraqi forces out of key cities in the west of the country in 2014. You remember that? The JV team, quote unquote, Barack Hussein Obama. That guy? Yeah. Having declared itself a worldwide caliphate and later conquered swaths of eastern Syria before ultimately surrendering Mosul and Raqqa in 2017 when international forces intervened. Now, it established the ISKP in eastern Afghanistan in January of 2015, actively recruiting defectors from the Taliban, in particular those who were discontented with their own leadership and the lack of success on the battlefield. So they're two different, even though they're cut from the same stone, they're cousins, they're sparring cousins. Fighting broke out between the two sides in June of 2015. And between two separate factions of the Taliban in the Zabul province that same November over whether or not to join forces with ISIS. See, that one time the Taliban leadership was saying, hey, why don't we just all pool together and all head the same direction? We all have similar goals. Now, more battles between the two facets erupted in April of 2017 when ISIS, ISKP, whatever you want to call them, captured 3 drug dealers selling opium to raise funds for the Taliban in northern Afghanistan province of Jawzan. And again in May 2017 when 22 militants were killed in clashes between the two sides along the Iranian border. So there's a difference there. The Taliban has launched an offensive to clear out ISIS out of that area. And the Islamic movement of, Uzbekistan, joining on the latter side, as up to 7,000 people were displaced from their home. So they joined the Islamic State. So these are two factions. Now, I guess in terms that a lot of us can understand, it would be like the Baptists and the Methodists fighting each other. If there was a war between the Baptists and the Methodists, it would be a lot like what's going on between ISIS and the Taliban right now. Now, there's issues going on here. The bomb that went off. Now, they're going to sit there. Taliban's going to point to ISIS. ISIS is going to point to Taliban. And to tell you the truth, I really haven't, and I don't care who's claiming responsibility for it. We probably will not know the actual truth. One of the chaotic scenes in Kabul, as people were fleeing for the airports, was the alarming sight of 5,000 prisoners walking free from the Puli-Charki air base, Bagram Air Base, that was occupied by Americans until recently. These were alleged ISIS and Al-Qaeda fighters among those numbers. This is the stuff that Biden has unleashed on the world again. He's opened Pandora's box. And let me tell you what, it's not going unnoticed. All of the people who have been there, basically just about all of the service people that have been there that I've run across, are absolutely furious with the Biden administration over this. And I think one of the things, and I think my friend Rex summed it up the most, is that you have the Marines taking their orders from Taliban leaders. These people are seething mad over this. We are making enemies by the minute, and not just enemies out of the usual suspects, ISIS, Taliban, whatever. We are now making enemies of people who are our allies. Oh, yeah, they'll still claim to support us and yada, yada, yada. But we have screwed over the Australians. We've screwed over the UK. We've screwed over Canadians. This is not going to go unnoticed. This is not going to pretty much go, without some kind of reparation. Now, what worries me the most about what's going on in Afghanistan, because usually on any given day I'd say, well, whatever. They've been fighting since the beginning of time. They're going to fight to the end of time. It's just the way they are. I don't have trust at all, any way, shape, or form, in the leadership of this nation right now. These are not smart people. They're stupid people. They are not tacticians in military. In fact, they're not much of anything. If we are not careful, the fool that these supposedly 81 million people voted into office, there's still a big question about that, is going to draw China, Iran, North Korea, possibly even Russia, into this mess if he's not careful. This chaos, this cesspool that he has created, this foreign policy nightmare that he has created. There is a potential, and I put this on Twitter last night. I meant every single word of it, and I'm not taking it back. These little leftist fruitcakes that when there's like Trump was president, Reagan was president, anytime, there's a Republican president, these keepers of the doomsday clock. Whoa, the doomsday clock. Every time there's a Republican president, they're quick to run over there and film these people setting the time on the doomsday clock to a minute till. Oh, we're almost to a nuclear holocaust. We're almost to the end of the world. These people had an honest brain. They had an honest bone in their entire body. If their skulls weren't so empty, they would be at about 10 seconds till midnight right now. If we do not play our cards right, if cooler, wiser, more intelligent heads do not intervene in what we're doing in Afghanistan, we could find ourselves on the brink of World War III. Would it be nuclear? I don't know. Hopefully we've evolved more than that. I doubt it, though. We have a group of people who want the United States of America gone. One of these groups of people are pretty much the United Nations. They've already said they want our resources drained. They want our voting bloc gone. They don't want the American citizen to be armed and in self-defense. They want us herded like cattle, stamped, branded, moved into living areas. They've made this completely public. What a better opportunity to stir everything up, get everybody stirred up, and attacking the United States of America than what's going on in Afghanistan and turning a lot of our allies against us. You see what you picking up what I'm laying down here? You feeling it? This could lead into something much, much bigger. I mean, how stupid are these people? They actually gave the Taliban lists of names of people they want to pull out of Afghanistan. Politico reported it. They gave a giant list of names to the Taliban, saying, oh, no, don't attack these people. These are our friends, and we're going to pull them out. This is going to be used as a death list. Anybody left behind by this moronic administration we have running this country right now, they're going to use this list to round them up and execute them. And every single one of these deaths that we will see are on Joe Biden's head. There's no way. He mumbled a half attempt at trying to blame Trump for all this. This is not a Trump thing. This is not a Trump thing at all. Not in any way, shape, or form. This is 100% a Joe Biden issue. They're saying, well, Trump set it up so that Joe Biden would fail. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Trump expected to win. Trump expected to win. He was going for the W. He didn't think he was going to lose. He was as shocked as most other people that he lost. That this dementia-addled old man that came out of the swamp, that's been the problem for 47 years, 81 million votes, and we're all still scratching our heads going, where did these votes come from? None of it adds up. But we've talked that to death. I want to get off that now. Pay attention to what's going on in Afghanistan. I hate to say this because I hate this never-ending crap in the Mideast more than anything in the world. But we have a lot of blood of our young men and women tied up in keeping America safe from these terrorists since 2001. And Joe Biden is quickly making it all for naught, quickly making the sacrifices of these brave men and women mean nothing. And if we get attacked again on American soil because this moron this idiot and his gaggle of idiots behind him and his administration and whoever's really pulling the strings in this country, because they're doing what they're doing right now and pretty much turning the Afghan people against us, along with the Iranians and a lot of others, leaving our southern border completely unprotected. If somebody strolls in here and we have another 9/11 attack, it's all on Joe Biden's head, calling it right now. Last 10 minutes of the show, I want to get off of Afghanistan. My blood pressure is through the roof. You know, I have good friends that served over there in Afghanistan. Livid. Every one of them is just livid. This is a giant slap in the face to these people. This isn't just about the Afghanistan people. This is a slap in the face to every man and woman who served in the military. They had to go over to that giant cat box over there and try to keep this country safe from those who would knock down more of our buildings, kill thousands more of Americans. Speaking of killing Americans, I got questions. I got a lot of questions. I'm watching what's going on lately with COVID. According to the media, COVID's rearing its ugly head again. We're back to the, oh my God, we're all going to die stage. I have questions. Now, I'll get called an anti-vaxxer for this, but I've been vaccinated. I saw the writings on the wall. I saw that if I wanted to keep my job, I was going to have to get a shot. I took some precautions to make that shot as disinfective as I possibly could. But I'm looking at things. Okay, you've got these idiots out there. They keep asking the question, how come more people aren't getting vaccinated? I know. Let's scare them into getting vaccinated. Let's start rolling out these variants. These variants didn't rear their heads until the numbers plateaued with the vaccinations. Now, my personal thinking is, if you don't want to get vaccinated, don't. If you feel you should get vaccinated, do it. Your personal choice. Your personal choice. I keep getting the vibes, the reasons that people are hesitant to get vaccinated or just aren't going to or don't want to. Why should they? Why should they? When Forbes magazine rolls out an article like this, vaccines are less effective against Delta variant and Pfizer's protection wanes rapidly. Oh, but they got to add so they don't get ostracized by the rest of the media. But these are still the best way to protect against COVID. They're coming out telling you now. There was a study. The team compared the effectiveness of the shots made by AstraZeneca, Pfizer, and Moderna against the Alpha and Delta variants, the two most recent dominant strains in the U.S. and U.K. While the vaccine showed strong protection against COVID-19, the study, which has not yet been published or peer-reviewed, which means it's just a study, which means it could be factual, it could be not factual. So I'm going to give it about that much credence, found they were less effective against the Delta variant. The Moderna vaccine appeared to be the most effective against Delta after one shot, the researchers wrote. Though the group said the young average age of recipients could be responsible for this finding, which we already know. They're trying to tell you differently, but all you have to do is check the stats. The demographics of who dies from COVID-19 have not changed. Now, they're trying to tell you they have, there's more people dying. No, these people who are dying from different things, and some of them have COVID in their blood. Now, I personally feel that they have been padding these numbers since day one. You'll never know. I would like to get somebody on the hot seat, maybe waterboard them a little bit, try to find out just exactly how much these numbers have been padded. And we all know that there's a difference between dying of COVID and dying because you've got, dying with COVID in your system. But anyways, researchers found that while Pfizer's shot was initially much more protective against the AstraZeneca, or more protective than the AstraZeneca vaccine, their protection waned rapidly after the vaccination in 4 to 5 months. And it matched the more stable level of protection offered by AstraZeneca. Now, of course, they have to add this. They have to add this because they don't want to get ostracized by this study. They come out and say, despite the diminished protection, researchers said that getting fully vaccinated against COVID-19 remains the best way to protect against Delta variant. Now they start talking about herd immunity. So fully vaccinated people infected with Delta COVID-19 variant still carry the same amount of coronavirus as unvaccinated people. What? Wait, back up. Fully vaccinated people infected with Delta COVID-19 variant still carry the same amount of coronavirus as unvaccinated people, the study found. So why get vaccinated? If we're going to roll out these variants, one right after another, and we've already shown that there's only a certain group of people that actually die from this, everybody else gets better. Maybe aren't they the only ones that, this is a vaccine, right? A vaccine indicates that this is not going to affect me. I'm immune from it. Now, this study, this is in line with other research and could, the researchers said, make achieving herd immunity unachievable for emerging variants. In other words, now they're saying there's no more herd immunity. Interesting. It goes on to say, we're seeing here the real-world data of how two vaccines are performing rather than clinical trial data. And the data sets show how the Delta variant has blunted the effectiveness of both Pfizer and AstraZeneca. So basically, these jabs are basically worthless. Is that what you're telling us? So you come out with this article. You're telling us all of these things that the vaccines don't do. You're still insisting that your natural immunity, especially if you've already had COVID, that your T cells, your B cells, your natural immunity don't build and protect you longer, you're still insisting that doesn't happen, that the shot has to be had. You have to have that shot. But then in the same breath, the same article, the same everything, you're telling us that they don't really work. They only last a couple of months. Oh, we're going to roll out a whole bunch of boosters. Every 3 months, you're going to have a booster shot. Every 3 months, you're going to have to run and put something in your body that we're not sure is going to basically turn you into some kind of gay frog in the next 10 years. I wonder why nobody wants to get the shot. I wonder why the numbers have plateaued. I wonder. Maybe if capital T, the capital S science was a little more reliable, people would be a little less skeptical. You are literally being told by these outlets that the vaccines don't work. Now, see, this is not shocking to me, and I've gone over this before. This is not news to me. The reason we don't have a cure for the common cold is because of the variants. The common cold is a form of coronavirus. That doesn't mean COVID-19 is the common cold. It's a cousin, okay? The reason we don't have a cure for the common cold is because it mutates and there's so many variants of it that you would literally have to have 70, 80, 100 shots to be protected against every single variant. You would literally be sloshing around with so many shots in your body that would probably kill you. This is going to be the same. It's how coronaviruses act. They mutate. They continually mutate. And they're trying really, really hard not to point this out, that the Delta variant is more contagious, but it's a lot less deadly. You get it. You get over it. You get on with like, oh, but people have to go on ventilators. Yeah. You look at the people that are going on ventilators. They're unhealthy to begin with on a good day. They're elderly. They're already fighting. They're towards the end of their lives. I'm not being calloused. I'm just pointing out a fact. We are shooting in the wrong direction. And now, even Fauci and the CDC are even starting to hint that we're shooting in the wrong direction. By coming out and saying that these antibodies that the media just a few weeks ago attacked DeSantis over, said that he was pushing this for his own profit, blah, 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 screeching and yelling at him. Now the CDC and Dr. Fauci says, we should be treating people who get sick with these. Yes, we should be. We've already said the vaccines don't work. We've already said the variants just basically fight through the vaccines. And they're talking about variants coming up in the future. They've got like a schedule of variants. Where did that schedule come from? Oh, these variants is going to be here this time, and this variant's going to be that time. What, are you releasing them yourselves? What are you doing? I got questions. If the vaccine is ineffective against these variants, why take it? Why take it? The science, answer me that. They can't because the science is bought and paid for with big money, with powerful politicians. I want somebody who's not in the middle of the science to do their own research and come out with actual facts. People who are not afraid of being ostracized by the community to come out with hard statistical data and say, this is the reality of the situation. People that I know are not being funded by people who expect them to come out with a certain answer, a certain criteria. We're going to have to start focusing on what gets you over this virus. You're going to get this virus. Chances are you're going to get it. Chances are you've already had it. Chances are these vaccines aren't going to do you a darn bit of good. They've already admitted that these vaccines are worthless. The only thing they may do is keep you out of the hospital. Honestly, if they came out and said, hey, this is the facts, these vaccines don't really work, but okay. They may keep you out of the hospital. If you are unhealthy, if you've got problems, if you've got issues, if you're elderly, you may want to get these vaccines because even if you do get COVID, it may save your life. The rest of you are probably going to get it, get over it, get on with your life. No, they've got this as chaotic as everything else. It's no wonder. If you really want to know why people don't want the vaccine, why there's vaccine hesitancy, this government should go look in the mirror. Look in the mirror and then mouth these words. I am why there's doubt. Nobody trusts the government. Nobody trusts the CDC. Nobody trusts bureaucracies. This is why people don't want to take a shot. You're telling them that natural immunity, natural biology, the biology that has kept us alive for hundreds of thousands of years as a species, no longer works? Why is that? Tell us the truth. Tell us the truth why it doesn't work. Is it because this is a bioweapon made in a lab? Is that why? Is it because you know that this has a long-term effect because you created it? Maybe if you started telling the truth, that you opened Pandora's box. Maybe if you started telling the truth, bureaucracies, CDC, Fauci, who has lied over and over and over again. Maybe if you started by telling the truth, or maybe admitting that, hey, you know what? We were wrong from the way we handled this. This is the honest to God truth. Here are the stats. We're not going to redact anything. It's just we're going to throw it out there. And let the cards fall where they may. Maybe then people would trust you enough to make their decision. But if you literally have to give away $1 million to 5 people in order to cajole them into getting a shot, they don't trust you. They don't trust you. That's what that means, idiots, morons. And this is nothing new. We haven't trusted the government for a long time. They continue to lie and lie and lie and lie. The polar ice caps were supposed to have melted. We're not supposed to have oil. Acid rain was supposed to have taken all the hair off of our bodies if you get caught out in it. The Amazon rainforest is supposed to be gone. There's supposed to be mass starvation right now. None of it is true. It was all lies. You can tell it's lies because the end of every one of those sentences were, so you have to give us more money and power so we can take care of this problems. That's how you tell it's a lie. That's how you tell they're not telling the truth. Anything that ends with, so we need more control, is a lie. They're incapable of telling the truth anymore. This is why nobody trusts them with this COVID. It's why nobody trusts them about climate change. I don't trust them about climate change because at the end of every single climate change symposium, at the end of every single climate change speech, there's that reference that, well, so you're going to have to become socialists and give the government all of your money. So we'll protect you from the climate. The government's the largest polluter in the nation. They're the biggest consumer of goods and services in the world. Talking about the United States government. How come there's nothing out there about the carbon footprint of the United States government? You're never going to find these answers out. They don't want you to know them. Because if you did, you would figure out that it's a con job to get more power and more money and to keep you terrified and in your house. I don't want to wear a mask anymore. I held up my end of the bargain. I was told that, well, you don't get the shot. You don't get to go to work. You don't get to make a living. All right, I took a shot. Now you're telling me I got to wear a mask anyways? Now you're telling me that it doesn't work? Now you're telling me that the Delta variant, because I'm immune, I'm still carrying as much of that around as somebody who's not immune, who doesn't have the shot? Well, I'm calling crap on that. That's not science. That's failure. That's failure. Why don't you try figuring out what cures this if somebody gets it, which we already know. Big money's already blocked it. Instead of insisting everybody get a jab, maybe people would trust that more. I ran over, but I really don't care. There's nothing else going on tonight. Thank you so much for joining the Hardcore Patriot. God bless you. We're going to get through all of this. Keep your head on a swivel out there, folks. Our president is leading us down a path that's going to put us right back into how this nation was on September 11th, 2001. It's scary, but you can see the writing on the wall. I'll be back in 2 weeks for another Hardcore Patriot. Join me Sunday night, Lord willing, for Circumspect, the right side of Michigan. All things Michigan from a conservatarian point of view. Look for me then. We'll talk again soon.